I mean, I come from a family where we have hardly any entrepreneurs in the family, both from my mother's side and the father. My father is from the defense forces, and so a typical middle-class family. If you can address the need of the client or the environment, and if you can give the best, I think you have enough and more business, enough and more growth. Money will come as long as you do. If you chase money, it may not come. But if you chase good work, money will follow. So I remember my controller coming one day and talking to me. And the one question that he asked me over lunch was, he said, Mr. Thomas, tell me how much of time you spend on strategy. He said, let me give you advice. At your level, you should be doing 80% strategy, 20% routine. I actually laughed out loud.
Our aspirations as mankind is growing. We have begun to question ourselves and are trying to delve deep within to understand ourselves and to grow. We want to operate out of a deep sense of purpose. We have realized that humans can alter their lives by altering the attitudes of mind. Here's an attempt to connect, share, get some of the successful people to open up and in the process learn and find the best within us. An attempt to delve into their minds, thought process and attitudes. How they think, feel, operate, and what are the habits that make them who they are. In the process, accept ourselves with all our insecurities, vulnerabilities, fears, and work towards transforming ourselves and in making ourselves our better version for today and tomorrow. I'm Satish Rao. I'm a vlogger, abundance crusader, and I'm passionate about bringing in abundance in all areas of our lives. So, welcome to the Abundance Show, Mr. Joseph Thomas.
Thank you.
So, Joseph Thomas owns Elgiva Business Solutions Private Limited, a 15-year strategic HR partnering company having 6 practice divisions. Stonebridge Builders and Developers is the real estate company. He is also a co-founder of Datum Informatics Private Limited and Big Hub Technologies LLP. Joseph Thomas has been with BNI, Business Network International, for more than 10 years. And he is one of the senior director consultants of Bangalore region and supports 6 BNI chapters. An alumni of Symbiosis Institute of Business Management, Pune, he has worked at leadership levels with large organizations like Aditya Birla Group and ACC Cements. With what really drives him today is his deep desire to build people, build their expertise, assist them in reaching their aspirations and maximizing their potential.
That's true.
So it's a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much,
Joseph.
Satish. My pleasure.
So I'll begin by asking you this question, which might have been thrown at you multiple times. What was the journey like and how did you embark on this journey of entrepreneurship?
Wow. Actually, it wasn't designed at all. I mean, I come from a family where we have hardly any entrepreneurs in the family, both from my mother's side and the father. My father is from the defense forces, and so a typical middle-class family, living as, employed, most of us employed, or the others are doctors and things like that. So how did I get into it? It's a big mystery for me, even though while I was working, many people have said that, I think, Joseph, you should look at entrepreneurship because the way whatever I was doing, I thought, no, that's not cut out. I thought I was completely a corporate person. So when I finished my MBA from Symbiosis and then started my career with the Aditya Birla Group, so it was always a great journey. If you ask me, we launched, a few of us, when in those days we launched Birla White in the country, did some great, we did things in the market which is still a case study in IIMs and things like that. To specifically say that, the white cement is such a commodity which can't be really, you can't create a demand. It's got a dormant demand and you can only cater within that specific application, specific need. So we entered in the market at that point in time with a large capacity of production, which even to get 5% market share would have been a huge task because there was already excess supply than the production at that time. So we did manage, and surprise of surprises, I think within 1 year we became the market leader.
Wow.
Yeah, we hit 65% market share within first year. So hence, as I say, it's still a case study in most of the good B schools. The string of things we have done, a whole lot of innovations we have done, that's something else. Anyway, that's where my career started. Then from there, I was elevated and asked to take over. That time, my boss was Anand Rati, who must have heard of Anand Rati. So he was my boss. So he said, yeah, Joseph, I think you're finished with Birla White. Now why didn't you take on bigger things? So that's when I started, doing the grey cement division, which is a much larger operation. So yes, long story short, I could be of significant contribution to the company, I would say, because I loved the job I was doing. I believed in getting things done. I believed in achieving things. I believed to go beyond the usual aspirations. So those are some of those things that drove me. So hence, and maybe if you say, you must have heard of a brand called Birla Super, which is a 53 grade cement. Well, I would say I was, to a great degree, I'm instrumental in launching 53 in the country at that point in time. A lot of firsts and things like that. Things were going well. As I said, I also worked with ACC, a great company to work for. So with Birlas, of course, I learned to never say die. That's something which Birlas taught me. Taught me what is, the sense of accountability, Whereas ACC was a different ball game. It fine-tuned a whole bunch of other corporate values and employee engagements, valuing partnerships and so on and so forth, so I think I was that way lucky to work in two huge organizations, mammoth of organizations, those days, those Tatas and Birlas, yes. And I think it was 38 or 39 when I was a general manager with the Birla Group.
Very young.
Probably, I believe I was the youngest general manager there in the group. I loved every day. Many people have asked me, if you would have to go back and do it all over again, will you do it? I said, oh yes, I would love to do it. It's fond memories, things were great. Yeah. So why did I then give up such a beautiful journey? The journey was good.
So how long was the journey, this corporate?
This was about 20 years.
20 years it lasted, okay, good.
It's about 20 years, and that's when when I say North India was, so we had this north, south, east, west, the countries divided into 4 different zones, and the south was kind of stabilized by then. We had managed to stabilize the cement thing, and north was in. And we knew there was going to be a long haul when things would take time to stabilize there. Being the firefighter or troubleshooter, I knew my next posting would be towards one of those.
North of India.
Maybe Patna, Delhi, Calcutta, one of those places. It wasn't a very comforting thought for me because I kind of like South. I'm a South Indian myself. I come from Kerala, so it's a hop, step and jump for me to go home. But more importantly, I think I love this city. This city was, I would say, I enjoyed every minute I stayed in this city. It's a great city, cosmopolitan crowd, lovely people. So, that was something of a huge trade-off. Second, then again, I thought to myself, I'm 39, 40, another 20 more years, got a couple of promotions left, but I would be doing more or less the same, the next 20 years.
True.
So, it's secure, things were nice, but that was another. And then a couple of other reasons, personal and other. I didn't want to relocate my children. I always believed in giving good education and things like that. So they studied in Bishop Cotton Girls, both of them. And then I thought to myself, I was reading Abdul Kalam's book, the India 2020, and we knew that India is in for explosive growth and there is a great opportunity for entrepreneurs to make something, to do something in India. It was like an American dream in those days when how people flocked to US, and I knew this was a dream which was going to unfold. So that was when I started toying with the idea of saying, shall I do something on my own? And I had the confidence. I knew if anything you should do, if you do it with uncompromising quality, there are takers. Second, I always realized that, which I still hold it very close to my heart, is always go and see what's the need and not what I want. So if you can address the need of the client or the environment, and if you can give the best, I think you have enough and more business, enough and more growth. Most often people look at, I want to do it because I want to make some money. That it could work, it may not work, I'm not too
sure. Money is secondary, you're saying. It's just a byproduct.
Which one?
The money is just a byproduct, you're saying.
Money will come. As long as you do, if you chase money, it may not come. But if you chase good work, money will follow.
Very nice.
So I think, but it's a harder journey. There's more sweat to it. There's more, I would think many try to take the shortcuts.
Yeah.
But if I have survived the business for the last 15 years, I've seen the booms and the busts.
Yeah.
I've seen so many of my friends close up.
Yeah, so you might say it's harder, but at the same time long sustaining.
Yeah, I think if you have foundation and your operations processes have certain, I think you kind of sail through. You'll always find a way to overcome. Otherwise, you're always on thin ice and you collapse. So yeah, that was possibly the reason which I stayed back and started this company 15 years back, Elgiva Business Solutions Private Limited, where I thought the company would be able to give multiple solutions. I didn't want to, because I was used to doing, let me say, put it this way, I'm used to chewing a lot more. So I didn't want to be stuck with something.
So now you're addressing the initial part of your entrepreneurial journey.
Just at the beginning. Didn't know head or tail of what entrepreneurship is. I just started on my own, bought a unit next to my house in Carlton Towers, bought an office space there. And there it was, and my second employee was the guy who was my secretary for many years in Birla's. So he was so used to working with me. One fine morning he said, I've kicked up my job and I want to work with you. I said, I want to kick you back, get out. I can't afford to pay you. But he said, no sir, I would like to work with you. He was my first employee and he's been with me till now. He's still here with me. So he's been associated with me for the last 23 years. So yeah, good thing is that we have people who have got 9 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, that's the kind of tenure that few.
So I just put a freeze on that a little bit now, just hold on with that thought. So Joseph, coming from your background of having worked in corporates and worked for some big names and for companies that have had very strong values, how has it shaped your approach to business?
So good question, Satish. What these corporates teach you is that if you have to do something, you can't do it alone. You need to take people along with you because you will realize the value that they bring to the table and how do you optimize these resources. Just having a lot of people doesn't work. So I think that was something which was, that is one. Second is that it also gives you the confidence because you have done things, you have succeeded. You may have had a huge infrastructure to, help you through. But nevertheless, you were there, you did it, and you succeeded. So the successes will give you a lot of confidence. When you start your own enterprises, these are confidence boosters. So if you so to say. When it comes to values, as you said, I think any successful organization, big, small or big, is built on people. And I realized that when I started working with ACC, it has a lot of this Tata culture and all of that. I realized that even a peon has a significant part to play in the organization. So how to be along with them, how to work with them, and then you realize that they would actually give your success comes when there is loyalty. And loyalty comes when they know they're cared for. They're treated humanely. Having said that, you need to also follow processes. There are strong processes which they evaluate themselves. They say, yeah, this is good for us. So I think these are things which large corporates will teach you.
True.
And you would be able to imbibe quite a bit of that in a much smaller scale. But the values can be anywhere replicated in whatever the size of the organization is.
Very true.
I think it's a great learning to work with.
Somewhere along the way you said also in terms of having been in senior positions, your approach to business was thinking in terms of big things, not like compromising and a chalta kind of attitude and trying to cut corners. So what was that part about?
Okay, that's again by virtue of probably handling a product like grey cement, which is really large volumes. And I had a rather large geography to look at. So I got used to doing things on a large scale. And that was where I realized that was the only thing that kept me alive. In the sense, wanting to get up in the morning and be in the office. Wanting to catch that next flight to be in that conference. To be there for the dealer meet. So I think if it was something which was small, to me personally, because of my background, I don't think that would have excited me. So that is the reason I wanted to have multiple things, and within about a year and a half, I think we had set up about 7 offices across the country.
Okay, so I'll just hold you there. So what was the first ventures that you put your step forward to?
Okay, so when in all these years, I didn't even have a resume. So, and I said, let me just check. I thought I was some catch whiskers in this particular industry for whatever reasons, but I didn't know what was my value outside of cement. Frankly, I didn't know whether I'm good, bad, ugly. I have no clue. So, and then I realized that at that level, you're very lonely. There's no one to speak to. And those days, when you're at a general manager, the people in the company don't expect you to leave. You don't expect yourself to put your CV up in the portal or somewhere for the whole world to see. You don't do any of that. Whom do you speak to? Do you speak to your bosses? Doesn't work. At the most, maybe you come back home and talk to your wife, who may or may not understand what you are really going through.
Yeah.
So, I realized there was a space for leadership hiring, and it was by accident. When I went to check out with a few big MNC names to see what are the options available, I realized that they could have done it much, much better. They're not even able to understand what the candidate is and understand the potential of the candidate. So that was when it triggered at some point. I said, hey, maybe it's only the MNCs, there are hardly any Indian companies which are in the leadership hiring. So that I thought, and with my network, the people I know, my alumni friends who are all holding pretty decent positions in different organizations, I thought there would be a business waiting for me. And we embarked on that.
So that was the leadership hiring.
We started off initially only as leadership hiring. So we did that for about 3+ years. We are still carrying that, I would say, call it stigma or brand, where I'm trying to say, hey, we still do a lot of mid-level, which is actually where the most of the traction is today. But we've not been able to shake away that thing that we are solely for leadership. Yeah, having said that, we still continue to be, and Times of India survey has also, a couple of years back, found us amongst some of the leading Indian leadership hiring firms. Yeah, so we have a certain amount of traction there. We could do better. But if you ask me, we still do a lot of mid-level. That's where the workhorses are. They are the shakers and movers. So we do a lot of work in that space.
So in the initial part, you were focused on HR practices and recruitments, and then you also diversified into other things. So how did that happen, and what did you do? Yeah,
as I said, Satish, initially I thought I would be able to start off with multiple businesses. This, that. Very ambitious. Didn't know really. Having the backing of a large organization is a different ball game. When you're on your own, it's a different ball game altogether. So, having expanded fast, that may be a good thing that happened, but it also had its own pitfalls, because at the end of the day, it was a feel-good factor. But then, was I making enough money with all these branches? I think it was operational cost was much. It was really taxed.
So, give me a sense of expansion. What did you do?
We had offices, as I said, about 7 offices across, and then we put up a couple of offices in
a
one
span of.
In the first 1.5 years, we had these 6-7 offices up, and then in the next 3 years' time, we had the other overseas offices, Singapore and Dubai, and then we had a resident manager in Kenya. So that was a kind of scale up. But I also wanted to bring in other divisions and something. But I realized it may not be that easy. Then of course, what really went bad was the 2008 meltdown. Lehman Brothers, and that was a shock. It was a global phenomenon, so all of us got affected. That was a time for consolidation. So changing the way along the business, immediately got into consolidation mode. We just slowly started hiving off the branches and having only operations between Bombay and Bangalore. Over the years, we didn't hive it off immediately, but over the years we did that. And then that was when, of course, I was always doing my real estate, which was still going on, because while I was cement and construction was always there. So I was part of a team of people in Bangalore with a company. So we used to develop properties. So that was continuing.
In a JV, in a joint venture?
Joint ventures, we used to take up a joint venture, take the plot, redevelop it, mostly commercial units. So anything from 3,000 square feet, I think the smallest unit we made is about 3,000 or 4,000 square feet, all the way to about 70,000 square feet, commercial buildings. So we used to do that, construct, fit out, hire it out, sell, give the shit. So that was going on parallelly along with this. And if you see, one thing I always realize is that whatever you may do, it's always good to, I mean, this is from a personal space, things can change from other. So I thought if you could leverage on your parent company, it makes a big sense. Now, if you ask me, how does real estate and HR have anything to do with each other or synergy? I say it's a whole lot of it that can do together. So I have access to data points of, with thousands and thousands of candidates, and I know their salary levels, where they are, what company they are working in. So we know a whole lot of people, and these are potential buyers.
Yes.
So unlike we going and trying to, it was easy to reach out to these people, and they know they've dealt with us, they've moved ahead, they've done the transition with us. So it was easy. So I had a ready-made market for selling my real estate. Even till today, even this thing with that Stonebridge, it's an 18-acre project which we're doing, is again going through the same. We don't have. I keep saying that we don't take the help of real estate agents. It's all sold on referrals.
Wow.
So that's where, because of that, I could leverage on that.
So Joseph, what will be your message to people who want to start or embark on the journey of entrepreneurship? What will be your message to them?
Actually, Satish, that's an extremely good question which you've asked. Being in this field, that